Welcome back to our election coverage. Victory for Secretary of State Brian Kemp tonight. He beat out Casey Cagle for the Republican spot on the November ballot. He'll face off against Democratic nominee Stacey Abrams for Georgia's next governor. Now, for the Republican spot on the ballot for lieutenant governor, it is a very close race tonight. 50% to 50% here as we take a look at Jeff Duncan and David Schaefer. This with 91% reporting. We're continuing to keep a very close eye on this race. Looks like just about 300 votes separating those two candidates. We're also watching two congressional districts very closely tonight. In the 6th congressional district, Democrats will decide between Lucy McBath and Kevin Abel. Now, the winner will challenge Republican incumbent Karen Handel. These are the results as they stand now. Kevin Abel up with 54% to Lucy McBath's 46%. We have 91% reporting at this point. And finally, let's take a look at the 7th district. It's Democrats David Kim and Carolyn Bourdeaux. Bourdeaux, a professor at Georgia State, and Kim, a magazine publisher. Let's look at their results now. 97% reporting, and Carolyn Bourdeaux is up with 52% to David Kim's 48%. The winner in this race facing Republican incumbent Rob Woodall. Russ?
Sinead, thanks very much. I'm joined now by the Georgia gang's Phil Kent on the right and Theron Johnson on the left. Casey Cagle finished first in May by 13 percentage points and is losing tonight by almost 40. Phil Kent, what happened?
Well, you remember back on the May 22nd primary that Casey Cagle did not even carry his home county of Hall County. He got blown out tonight 70-30 by Brian Kemp. But remember, the other rivals who were defeated all went over basically to the Kemp camp, and then there was that great President Trump endorsement and his great ad campaign, in my opinion, that really put Brian in good stead.
Okay, Brian Kemp wasted no time tonight trying to brand Stacey Abrams a radical leftist, brought up George Soros, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton. How difficult is it going to be for Stacey Abrams to distance herself from that?
Well, with Kemp winning this sort of dominating victory tonight, he immediately wanted to adopt the national GOP playbook. So he's definitely going to try to label Stacey Abrams as sort of this liberal, progressive from Washington and receiving a lot of outside money. I just think it's not going to work, Russ, because Stacey Abrams is Georgia born, Georgia bred, and she's just really going to drive home a message that Georgia voters can really resonate around. I mean, she's talking about Medicaid expansion. She's talking about the things that she can do to improve our education system. And she's also talking about job creation. So I think that what she's going to do in the next 48 hours is that she's going to come out with the amount of money that she has and the structure to really define herself before the RGA and the Kemp campaign can really define her.
We heard Democrat DeBose Porter say tonight that Amazon's not coming to a state that has Brian Kemp as governor. What do you think about that?
Well, that's ridiculous. We have the best state to do business in. There's 19 other states that have religious liberty. He's upset with that. Amazon is going to pick what Amazon is going to want to do. And I think the big question is which party, which candidate can pivot more to the center. I think the Republican Party is a better center-right party. There's really no center in the Democratic Party. It's going to be harder for Stacey Abrams with some of her socialistic positions to pivot.
Okay, but you're talking about a candidate who had his gun and his truck and was very hard on immigration. You're saying Brian Kemp can move toward the middle.
Yes, he's pro-business. We have a AAA bond rating. Governor Deal is going to be endorsing Brian Kemp. There'll be a big Republican unity rally on Thursday with Casey Cagle and Brian Kemp and the governor. And I think all stripes of Republicans will pull together. And after all, Trump won this state by 5 points.
I know you want to respond to the socialist tag.
No. Well, not only that, I think this whole notion that the Republican Party is a center-right party, that is absolutely false. It's a Trump party that is extremely right. And so I think that both candidates are going to try to appeal to moderate voters, but I think that this whole socialist tag that Phil is trying to label Stacey Abrams is just not going to work. She's very progressive. She actually has a bipartisan record in the House of working with Republicans to get things done for Georgia. And so it's definitely going to be a lot of pushback on that tag.
Okay, 30 seconds on the lieutenant governor's race. Duncan, Schaefer, you surprised how close this is? Which way do you think it's going to go?
Schaefer still might have a chance to pull it out, but Duncan really hurt him with some hard-hitting ads over the last 3 weeks. there may be a recount on this one. It could come down to 1/2%.
Yeah, Duncan labeled himself as an outsider. Schaefer had some very tough problems while he was in the Senate, and so I think that clearly the voters definitely want something new and fresh. And listen, Schaefer is an establishment Republican, and we've seen what happened to those Republicans that have been on the ballot.
Yes, we have. Theron Johnson, Phil Kent, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.